Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another stream for Cryptopocalypse. Now, I'm your host, Crypto Ranger, and good morning, good evening, and good day to all of you guys. How's your day going? Hopefully everything's okay. Now, what's happening here? Where's the chart? Where is the chart? Give me a second here. 1 second. Much better. What's going on, Miko Pat? Good to see you, Nacho. We have a little technical issue here. Well, we had it fixed now. Bitcoin chart. Let's get into it right away, guys. Thank you for the 2, 3, 4 of you tuning in. I'm not gonna say anything. Where you guys at? Oh my God, it is dead across the board, man. Discord caught some crickets. YouTube live streams. Another beautiful setup. I left you with a little squiggly line over here, and we're up as expected on the intraday. So I'm still like my P&L has not reset from yesterday, sitting at 2.22%. P&L wall is kind of dry, guys. I don't know what's going on there, but it'd be really nice to see some of your setups, but whatever, who cares? We're making money over here, and I'm sharing what I am doing daily intraday, and so let's get into it. So you start your day CPR block, right? Broke down here. Shout out to, once again, I Know Nothing, who called the ultra thin incoming violence levels over here, and price did what it did by performing as expected, breaking down below this level structurally and falling onto the MarketSpy Armageddon pivot level, which you set this to weekly. I think we need to bring it to HC mode like so. And so that pivot level that you just saw, this line jumped up just a notch. This is basically a classical pivot method of calculating it mathematically, and price rarely throughout the day actually interacts with it. So HC mode is much more reliable. And here we had this level right here. I had to recreate the squiggly line because I keep drawing things and I erase them. I never keep anything on my chart. But for context, for sort of like the historical evidence, it's good to keep them on the chart, but I don't do that, unfortunately. I don't know why. Let me just get a little more comfortable over here. I'm sitting in my lotus position, and eating some manuka honey with some nuts and drinking some tea. That's all you need, really, to survive. I'm like John the Baptist out here. It's nothing but tea and honey. We don't eat locusts, but all the same. So yeah, so this pivot level here is something that you are watching intraday, and on this particular setup on the hourly chart, let's bring it back to the hour. On this particular setup on the hourly chart, you had a take profit level from this red candle to the downside. Now, as you know, punch out is like the craziest thing ever if you need to know like what your exit points are. And so what essentially happened here was we hit the punch out take profit level right around here, just below pivot over here. And you know, when I share my P&Ls and stuff like that, I always leave you with a little bit of thoughts in terms of what is happening, because I tend to get in on these trades. Sometimes I over leverage and I exit very, very quickly, because the philosophy here is that if I know my directionality, perhaps sometimes when the conviction is super high and the indicator is very clean, you know, there is no, I talked about this controversial take before, and I got I got into some hot water because of it, but I said that I don't use stop losses in instances that people need to understand context, in instances where price is moving directionally, aggressively. And if you time it right with DSR, right, it's really hard to be wrong about directionality. And so when it's moving in this one direction, you might as well just go all in 20, 30x of your account, and just boom, $100, $200 later, you're out and you're up by your 1%. So that's a quick way of doing it. Of course, you need to know what it is that you're doing relative to what the system is showing you. But you know, like that take profit level, it's very important to understand that when we hit these take profit, these blue or red levels, price will rebound because you're confined within. So depending on the CPR, where that action is taking place, in the beginning, in the middle, or at the end, which is also the beginning, because I talked about the sessions a lot. Although here on Cryptopocalypse Now, we treat New York Open, Asia Open slightly differently. We kind of divided the whole thing into the sunrise and the sunset of price action. And so traders rotate on two major parts of the world. So this globe, we split it in two. And so we start off slow, then we accelerate towards New York session, then we see some volatility, then we cool off, and the sun rises, and here I am at 7 a.m. in the morning, and we're about to have a new CPR session that's going to open in a couple of hours, and you have a brand new trade setup ready to go. And so I'm, you know, I make my profit early in the morning like this, and then I don't care what happens throughout the day. And so I wish the same for you. I wish that you could catch these trades on time. I have built a discipline over the years where it only happens at specific periods of the day, or midday whenever MarketSpy Armageddon, supported by MSX, print a signal, and that's more than enough for me to do the same thing pretty much. But it's never at random whenever I feel it. For example, right now, even though we started the stream, I have to adjust the schedule because I want to fit into the system schedule, which is, you know, our actual trading is coming up in like 2-3 hours from now. So 2 hours from now, at about 9 a.m. my time, we're gonna have that's Asian session that's gonna open, and we're going to start looking for a trading opportunity there. But just because it's at the open, depending on how it opens, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna get into a trade. I might wait a couple of hours for it to develop, start moving strongly in the direction, and then I execute my leverage trade. This is why I trade derivatives, because leverage allows me to profit from the markets quickly, and then I don't have to sit and assess the chart all day long. And if it's a small position, it's a set it and forget it kind of situation. I throw a stop loss at the low, calculate my 1R, calculate my size for using MarketSpy tactics to give me the appropriate size, and then It rarely hits the stop loss. Sometimes it does, but very rarely. And it just starts creeping up the page. So since last night when I posted my P&L card, we have been following this trajectory flawlessly to the upside. And so, and here though, we're now inside of this band EQ3. And so what that means essentially is there's a potential here to get rejected and start maybe selling off towards that pivot level again. So the rebound on the 1 hour delivered as expected, and we assessed that this pivot level, bulls needed to defend it from bears in order for price to start moving up, and it did. So they have successfully defended it. You got your rebound, and there were plenty of opportunities here to take a trade. And so basically based on this setup, depending on how we open, stop loss 121,529 over here is your exit point, because at this point in time you will be breaking your baseline. You'll be shifting candles towards that red color that nobody wants to see, or maybe you do want to see it because you'll go short. But we had a breakout, successful close. But to me, after a consolidation and an attempted run, usually this is the place where price starts to compress. And just when you thought that you had it figured out and you think that it's going to go up, it's going to go down. And when you think it's going to go down, it's going to go up. So in other words, we're entering the range territory. And it's one of my favorite places to trade, because exits based on ATR, small momentum moves, are more than enough for you to profit from these instances. So yeah, so this is the highlight of the previous setup of the day. I pointed some arrows over here in my P&L, daily P&L Discord server channel, as well as the signal screens. But I also left you with a macro outlook on what the yearly looks like. And so while to us it doesn't really matter where price goes from here, up, down, we just have to capture a sure shot distance travel so that we can use a little bit of leverage or conviction to extract some profits. So this is what we're looking at. At the end of this session, there's no point of entering a trade over here, specifically going up or down if you're not already long. What we do have to look out for is, of course, our pivot to pivot plays, and those look like this. They go from the open of the yellow line, and your next sort of exit point sits at BC, and then right after that at PH. So you have 4 high probability levels, and the bias is illustrated by price showing tendencies or intent in going in one or the other direction. So for example, if we're above this yellow line for the day and we open here and we stay, we look at momentum. And sometimes, you know, if you open like this and momentum is green but you're below, this means that we're most likely going to be heading lower, because we're not oversold yet on momentum. When we do make a low, when we do print a GPS or C-dot reversal points like these, and we stay above this line, it means that we're going up. So this is how I'm able to successfully show you directional setups using arrows or just through conversations like these to help you understand how we arrive at these profitable conclusions every time. On the macro though, there have been a couple of bearish calls in the last few streams, and like I said, macro, you have to understand that this is not going to be delivered immediately. You may still see some surprising price action going into this October month, so to say. We're not even halfway through, and so anything can happen. This can easily retrace and go back down to 107 and lower. And on the yearly chart in Discord, you have a very clean chart with a very particular ascending triangle setup over here. Oh, by the way, Aster is your next best trade over here, and this is most likely going to be a short setup. It is squeezing extremely tightly. So I'm actually going to be trading Aster today as opposed to Bitcoin, because Aster looks a little bit cleaner and ready to squeeze out of this formation. If it goes up, you're at the bottom here. So if it does go up, it's a creeper, forget about it. We're opening below this pivot, but it looks like it's going to be going down. So my finger's on the trigger to short Aster if I start seeing some signs of weakness and especially acceleration. I'll get into it. It'll probably last a few seconds to a few minutes. I'll be in profit and I'll be done for the day. So I'm willing to bet on this breaking down, but again, anything can happen. So do your own analysis as well, compare it against mine, others, and just form your opinion from there. So over here though, this is the yearly setup. So let's take a look at this. So this is ascending bullish triangle that looks like this, and we're like at the squeeze point over here. So I'm not sure what Bitcoin is going to do today, but going into the weekend, there's a very good chance of a full-on reversal to the upside. We're being supported by CPR red floor on daily, and so this is a monthly breakout. So the month is in progress, and this is a monthly candle, and it can fluctuate wildly, and it's better to keep an eye on daily time frames and lower time frames for daily CPR DSR setups, where you can kind of understand where you are at what point in time and what it is that you need to be looking out for. So once you have that, you'll have an immediate understanding of what is happening within this one monthly candle, or you can simply wait until the end of the month and see where it takes us. And where it can take us is this level is loading right here, and I'll show you how you arrive at this level. And it is currently at what everyone else is assessing at around 150, 142. And the reason is because I think I talked about this before, but this is reiterating. By the way, if you do use DSR, rely on the price close to help you understand directionality a bit better rather than staying with wicks, because a wick means that somewhere on lower time frame relative to whatever the time frame where the wick is that you're looking at, there was a trap. So price was going down, then buyers stepped in, reversed it, and that wick, that is not the point of interest. Actually, it's the close that matters. So the close, or at least, this is what I would like you to understand, and this is how I suggest you approach these charts if you want to have a little bit of an edge. This is more patient, this is more sure, this takes time, and when it closes, it's a very clean setup. So you can use your lagging span over here like this. So we call it the orb, this green little dot over here. So the ascending structure, much like all of these guys over here, will show you what is going to, since it mirrors price. And instead of polluting your actual price with trend lines, you can do it on the side, offset 24, 29 periods back, just to see what's going on. So what can happen here is that we can have a rapid acceleration, a pump outside of these of this pointy nose over here. But the problem is it did not happen at 3/4 of the distance of the actual formation. So the squeeze here, we should have had a breakout over here, but because we went down a little bit and we're squeezing out of it now, what can happen is this, right? This is what we're looking at, and some people may call it blow off top or whatever, but we will see what happens this month, because this is a monthly setup. Right now, this is going to take time, but the orb is bullish. The market sentiment is bullish. Everybody wants to go long on this, and I think there's a good potential here that traders can push this price up to this level. Why this level specifically? Because if we were to go classical on this thing and go from the low to the breakout point like this, bring it over to here, this is where we would end up, and this is the breakout point over here, and it pretty much brought us up to the T at the exact yearly resistance. And the second reason why we have this level here set up in this way is because we have another breakout point right here. I'm just gonna take this towards the breakout point. It's already labeled over here. I have those sitting there, and it brings us up to roughly about this level right here. This is not precise. I'm not trying to squint my eyes and look into the fine little details over here, but roughly 140 is the general consensus here. But I think that would be an inflection point for Bitcoin, unfortunately, and that bearish outlook is still strong. 3 years later, I don't know if this can go on for another 3 years. I don't really care. I have exited my 16K average 32K long a long time ago, and I bought in on some Bitcoin, and I have been selling it a little bit, and it's been funding my bills and everything. And so yeah, it was an amazing time to be alive when we had that opportunity to buy low. And now at any point here, you know, if you're selling 3 years later, I think you're doing pretty good overall. So this is what we have on these time frames and levels, and how we get there, and a little bit of alpha in terms of how you can capture these moves using these DSR elements, right? So that's the breakout point, and let's go back to daily over here. A quick assessment on the, so this is a chop consolidation above the pivot level because we held. It's not gonna go and cut right through back through it to the downside, so do not bank on that. It can go down a little bit depending on how it opens now, but I'm not sure if you're coming back down to these levels today, so maybe chop sideways for a little bit. But I also want to set this off to show us weekly, okay, just to see the weekly setup. So remember, above daily bullish, above weekly bullish. However, over here you can see how the close, the weekly close is above pivot, but the daily close is below pivot. So we closed below it, but we have been hovering above it. Mixed signals, as you can see over here, mixed signals. Overall, a little bit of strength, overall potential breakout to this point, but also kind of like an official break on the 1 hour of the EQ3. So the EQ3 zone is between this line and this line. So this this thing over here, right now, we chop through it, but the recovery is going to be after the chop, and a descent down is also going to be after the chop. It's not going to be a straight line from here, just because of this break. The situation right here, officially we're retesting, and we want to see if we can reclaim it, trap all the happy bears over here, and then maybe continue rising higher, or completely get rejected, sellers step in, the market will dictate, MarketSpy will catch that happening, and then we will go lower. But knowing Bitcoin is going to chop, and you can rely on that for clean setups across the board. So weekly, we're in the middle of the week, we're above daily. If we open bullish again and we push past this, then we can see how we're going to maybe have a recovery over here going into the midweek, and it's only Wednesday, and so literally today we will cover this range over here, and so maybe a little bit of more up, taking out this previous low over here, maybe, right? And then we're going to have a little cool off period and then continue going up again. So this is what I think is going to happen. This is not a guarantee. Like I said, if the system flips the script and tells us that this is not the case and we're going down and there's some acceleration and some, you know, social sentiment starts, you can start seeing that and then feeling that through the charts as it happens. So when it does happen, you know, you start going lower, your next pivot area, this is the classic pivot area that I was talking about. It's right here, central pivot basically, and we haven't tapped it. And this is why HC, on the other hand, was somewhere around here at the red TC zone. So we defended that, and the next logical step is to go to PH, pivot high. Now remember, this is a high probability level, and so you have to expect price to make its way back up to the previous high right here, which, you know, maybe will give us an opportunity to go short, but we'll have to wait and see until then. So overall, we have really good momentum compression over here. We have all the bars lining up, and it's been going up since yesterday, and we're now facing some weekly pivot open or previous open resistance. It is a resistance point, and so you have to treat it as such. So if the daily opens bullish and we don't reject from this weekly point, we can start coming back up. But you have two immediate point of interest right here, and the lower time frames will show you if you're gonna start moving towards one or the other. You can place your bet from there. But you have your PH, that's number one, and BC, that's number two. So unfortunately for us, every time we stream, when the timing is off, and this is just kind of random, but it is good for you because the stream is meant to prepare you for what's to come. It is not meant to just muck around, sit, do nothing, and make you watch me do stuff that doesn't really affect anything about your life. So I want you to focus on your own wallet and kind of see where to go from here. So if you're an intraday day trader, you know, you might as well just draw these two lines. But see, the trick is the daily open here currently, we're at the resistance point, compressing under it. If the daily opens bullishly, like I said, that PH level is more than likely to happen. If not, you have your bid sitting at 118, which I told you about 2 or 3 days ago in our Discord in the platoon. And so you already know where the bids are. You're sitting there waiting for it to hit those levels for you to bid and maybe hold it for a little bit. But if holding means, you know, 24 hours, then once again, we had an amazing setup going off of these lows, bulls defending the level, pushing price back up to our little resistance zone. And, you know, anywhere from here to here, there's a clear $1,000 distance that you could have somehow taken advantage of. And so, yeah, awesome stuff. And so rinse and repeat, right? MarketSpy for the win. And this is all I have for you now. I'm gonna drink 1 cup of tea together with you guys. If you have any questions, shoot them in the comments. If not, my job is done. It's been an honor. And when you come to this video, and hopefully you're right on time, you will know exactly what to do and how to do it. So thank you for tuning in. Let's go drink a little cup. Tell me how the audio is. I have a pencil microphone for like $3 hanging over here, and I find that it feels better to have like a mini thingy hanging above my head here. I think it's better than the previous mic. I might be wrong, I don't know. Yes, sir. One more. Right on. Okay, good. Thanks, Nacho. I love feedback like this. People need to stop acting like a bunch of peeping toms, man. Participate. Hydrate. Don't let them liquidate. See, T in this business of trading is the only liquidation that should be of your concern. The exchanges are greedy bastards. They already take and make enough from their fees from us, so don't let them take everything away from you. You gotta hold on to what you got. Context is king in all of this, right? And it is a tick by tick experience, because we can be sitting here talking about up, down, left, right, freaking circles. But at the end of the day, when you're locked in and you pay attention to the open, the mid, and the close, that's where you find that window. In all of these setups, I'm not saying that you're sniping bottoms or tops. It's more like, even like these red candles over here. Let's take a look at this. Look how disgusting this is. It's like, oh my God, are you really trading this? Well, I don't know, because you're likely sitting on a 5-minute time frame and you're looking at these setups and you're like, okay, so what is it about this setup that you couldn't have had with your MarketSpy? So for example, baseline loss, grind. Grind is greed. G stands for greed/grind. So when it grinds, that's greedy. When it creeps up against a baseline like this, you already lost the momentum over here. But this is kind of like, you know, I talk about racing cars, and when you pull the lever you know, you skid and you burn the tires, you know, handbrake, you still have that momentum. That's what momentum is. So you have acceleration. That's at the daily open, at the daily close, at the midterm, and then you have momentum that carries you through that initial thrust, that initial acceleration. And so we have that happening here. You can see acceleration is pretty good, but then it slows down over here, gets into so this is like a sponge, right? Our ribbon over here is like a sponge. So price kind of pushes into it, right? Goes up. So because you still have like this thick green cloud and everything is nice and dandy. But over here, you kind of red flag. You know, you don't want to test the Lord your God, MarketSpy the Dawn, by printing 1,000 different red flags, because sooner or later, guess what? There's going to be a reversal. So how do you know? Well, you look at the weakening on the momentum. And here we have the first sign of short-term trend flow. First of all, the one inside the cloud is so this is thick, and this, it just starts to kind of like, So you get your first signs of trouble over here. You get your momentum heading lower. You get the red over here. So you're like, you kind of know what's to come, and you know that one of these was probably the peak. And if you study the baseline retest videos and the stuff that I talked about, you know that when you lose, you see this opening right here, where there's a missing tooth, missing diamond right here. So there's like a clear trail right here. The railroad is good, but there's one little cog that's missing right here in the system. And so this is the baseline retest, successful. You got your yellow X, you got these guys pulling you down, momentum looks atrocious. And so if you were to use, let's bring back, that's DSR. DSR is one thing, but then over here you kind of go, okay, let me see if I have my punch out strategy of max 7 or something. And let's enable this to keep the history of N bars up to 8. We should have more than enough. So here you go. It tells you, buddy, if you watch CR's videos, place your stop loss right here. And I didn't even trade this. This is like, what is this? I'm just showing you an example that when you're locked in on that intraday lower time frame, stop loss, you have your breakout point of entry right here, anywhere over here. Momentum is confirming that you're done for. And then your exit point is immediately at 1R over here. And if you don't exit, price reverses on you. because you're being silly. You're not listening to what the algorithms are telling you. So price reverses over here, goes back to your stop loss. But you might as well apply a reverse psychology logic here and say, what if my stop loss point over here during the chop is my exit point, is my entry point, and maybe I can do it that way. Sure, you can catch knives like this quite successful, and it'll work until it doesn't, and maybe you'll take a loss at that time. So make sure when you do these knife catching tricks, the size is manageable, is small, and you can weather out the volatility. If it gets too crazy, then you're not affected if it starts shifting by a few thousand points, which is rarely the case, but I'm just saying, right? Bitcoin either gains 0.5%, 1% point. It's rarely when you get 5, 4 in a single day, right? So watch out for those. But overall, you know, you had your breakdown. Boom. You have another setup over here. No breakout. BO means breakout. And so you're not trading this, like prices going up, but you're like, I remember what Cryptopocalypse Now talked about. Unsustainable candles. When huge unwanted small candles that nobody likes, this is where I find my opportunity. These huge midday out of nowhere pump reversal freak candles, you're not chasing those. That's drama queens. Those candles are drama queens. You want the housewife candles, the ones that are stable, the ones that are just like, but they're like, you know, no. You're not thinking long term. You're thinking like, now, this is the hottest thing right now. Right, it goes up, gotta be a part of it. BO over here, look, price consolidates. I'm telling you, punch out filters out the BS out there, filters out the noise. That's what MarketSpy is good for. It's not really a buy-sell indicator. It's actually a filter to help you stay sane and see that price is not actually doing anything for you to have any business transaction here. So it goes down, it doesn't break the here's the stop loss, and here's the breakout point BO. It never broke the BO. It never broke it. And obviously at this point I come in and I say, oh yeah, I think we're going up, and you know, we're gonna start defending this level. And so boom, and then you have the next setup, and now this one is looking clean. Now you're past all the noise over here. Good riddance of this price action was atrocious, but MarketSpy never told you to go short or long anywhere here. Okay, there's nothing here that tells you to go long or short. However, once we have the MEXC set up, and that's a whole different beast altogether, MEXC. But once you have your MEXC, you go up, you have a breakout right here, get your entry, your stop loss. You can actually do this with like higher leverage without the stop loss and use one of the levels below to have your stop loss. It doesn't necessarily have to be here, but for good risk management practice and the keeping of the sanity, you put your stop loss right here, you get into a trade. Now the stop loss doesn't mean that you're going to be trading with a small size. If you have learned how to use a system, you might say, I know what this is going to do. My conviction is 10%, which means 10% of my account I can bet that this is going to go up. So my bet is 10% strong. Now that's 10% of your account that you're betting on. If the stop loss gets hit, you're gonna lose that. So you have to really want it. You have to really understand what it is that's at risk here. If you're not sure, if you're starting out, and if you're like, I'm willing to lose 0.1% of my account, hey, it all adds up in the end. Just go with 0.1. But anyways, take profit, hit. We go up. This is like, I'm not saying they're idiot traders, but this is idiot proof in case there is some idiocy that's like, that's a problem. So here you have another level where it gives you a breakout point over here. It goes down. Price kind of does nothing, but when it does break out over here, very aggressive candle, unsustainable, but it hits the take profit. So if you're late to this, you know, if you don't have a clean close and candle like makes a breakout and the take profit in one breath, probably an instant reversal, and that take profit level is going to do just that. And that was recent, actually. That was like not long ago. But yeah, so Armageddon, boom, green, red, that's all you need. And then you have your DSR, and we already talked about what that is. And so overall, just like zero excuses not to be printing here every day. It's to the point where it's between, so your work is 7, 8 a.m. like what I'm doing right now is overall assessment, putting the picture together. 9, 10 a.m. or p.m. depending where, same thing, because if it's happening here at 9 a.m. it's happening over there at 9 p.m. So just calculate according to the DSR open and close, not the sessions, but specifically DSR, because algorithms don't sleep. You do. Algorithms don't sleep. So it's not like New York Open, Asia Open matters. It's the universal time frame where the DSR opens that matters algorithmically, because this is what the systems are going to use to build their positions. So awesome stuff. What can I say? A little bit off track, but what was I saying here? Glanced outside the window and I'm like, oh, it stopped raining. I should probably go outside and ride a little bit after this. But what was I saying? Damn. Hope you're good, guys. Oh, absolutely. ES, you can do a couple of quirks, couple of mods that you need to, you can tune it up for ES features and stuff, or even like spot. So you can totally do that. And we're gonna get into the, I'm so swamped with everything that's going on. So I'm not making a lot of, like there's no views, there's no YouTube revenue, there's no commissions, no one's using the links anyways. And it's like, I have to, you know, it's either I sit and educate, which is free, or I have to trade. I have to trade for a living, so I have to make sure that I get a couple of good setups. And the life of a trader is like this. It's not like you're aiming to make money every day. As a matter of fact, you're aiming to skip most trading days, and you just wait based on that DSR system to find like weekly setups. Because what happens on the daily here happens on the weekly setups as well. We were able to call the 107 level perfectly when we were at 118, and then we rode it all the way back up to 118. So that's like a hell of an opportunity on the weekly time frame, because it is the same principle, it just lasts a little longer. So all you guys who are saying, oh, I'm a trend trader, I want to go for swings, what are you doing here? You have no business tuning in to these charts daily. You wait until the start of the next week and you take it from there. You map out your levels and you just sit and wait and wait and wait. Same goes for monthly, until bam, it happens, and you know, you get your, if that's your style of trading. I always say that I'd rather know within the next few minutes if I'm right or wrong, or if I made the money or not, rather than finding that out a month later or a few weeks later, because that's the worst thing. You lose time and you lose money. Here, at least I can lose my money, but not my time if I'm day trading. Capish? See how good this is? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you all. Thank you for tuning in. Next time, chat it up a little bit. Nacho, I appreciate all the messages. You're gonna climb the leaderboard here very quickly soon. And what that means is, this system, this little thingy down here, is not just any graphical interface. These are points that are going to be redeemable for giveaways and cash drops and all that good stuff that we used to do back in the day. So I'm bringing it back one by one, little by little. All these elements here is for the people, for the community. So much love, guys. Stay healthy, stay hydrated, never liquidated. This is CR, and we are out. See what the daily prints. Take your time. Don't let the candles lure you in. You say, nah, let me see where that acceleration happens. Directionality will be established 2-3 hours after the open. Take it from there. And if it looks ugly and choppy and momentum is just like this, flat, just come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. On average, if you trade 15 out of 30 days of the month, you can still make some good money. You know, let's say $4,000 or $5,000. Not big money, but it's you know, take a look at the world out there. You can't complain. Beautiful stuff. All right, guys. Cheers. Until next time. Thank you. Bye.